Alright, hi everyone. How am I going to compete with this then? Certainly one of the most striking intros, straight down to business. 455 million views, 500 million. Welcome to the era of Spice Girls. It is now That's Local Music 34, which I make summer of 96. Still an amazing 24 years ago. We are slowly but surely making our way through time. It does feel like we've been sort of crawling through week by week, month by month. But we are looking in inordinate detail at the musical history of the last 35 years. And we would be remiss if we didn't at least give a passing mention to the Spice Girls. Certainly 500 million viewers can't be wrong. And, you know, I'm not going to be wasting a lot of breath analysing the Spice Girls songs. But I do think in terms of popular culture, it's absolutely worth at least a little chapter on them. I might as well do it now and then we can crack on with other stuff later. Yeah, obviously huge dominant female band of the second half of the 90s. Various comebacks with various permutations of the original lineup. I think everyone but Posh Spice. They all had their little character names. Baby Spice, Posh Spice, what have you. Everyone was encouraged to have their favourite. I didn't really have a favourite. You know, I obviously played them a lot DJing at weddings and stuff, but not really something I'd listen to at home. So I think we'll start this one off with something that you have to acknowledge in terms of popular culture, but not personal taste. And I don't really think it's designed to be, you know, it's mainly for girls, I'd say. I don't think many blokes would really like the Spice Girls musically. I could be wrong. Okay, we follow that up then, and I'm just going to crack straight on with Robbie Williams, who at this point has now left Take That, and he's doing a George Michael song. I think it was an old George Michael solo song. That's adequate cover of an adequate song. God almighty. Peter Andre's next with Mysterious Girl. I believe it was his first single. Easy one to slag off, but it's more resonant just to skim it over, really. It's not like offensively bad as such. It's just kind of very, very, very white reggae. I've done some white reggae myself, so I can't really complain. Anyway, Dodgy finally give us something a bit more me, to a certain extent. And it is good enough. Now, Dodgy had been around for a while. They'd had various semi-hit singles. In the wake of all things Britpop, they suddenly found another kind of niche. And yeah, this is probably one of their most famous songs. It's quite retro sounding. Got nice kind of Rhodes pianos, but it's got that 90s shuffle beat. Very good song, really. Very refreshing. After the Spice Girls, Robbie Williams and Peter Andre. Finally a proper band. And that's followed up by another one. London Bus Style, or even Leeds Train. The Day We Caught the Train. Actually, where were they from, Ocean Colour Scene? Were they Scousers? And it's a really good song, actually. Another one that's very retro. Very, very beatly. Very I Am the Walrus. Oh, they're from Birmingham. Okay, so a Birmingham train. Yeah, fairly kind of love them or hate them within the world of indie. But I always thought Ocean Colour Scene, they were kind of quite moddy in sound. And yeah, they certainly know how to put on some good songs. Day We Caught the Train is a great song. Okay, we follow that one with theme from Mission Impossible, Larry Mullen and Adam Clayton from U2. Guess what movie the theme from Mission Impossible's from? Yeah, Mission Impossible. How did you guess? And it's a pretty good version, actually. It's modernised. It's got a kind of wah-wah-y sort of sound. Yeah, pretty. It's a classic theme tune. And yeah, it already appeared on Now 17 as part of Electribe 101's Talking With Myself. They'd just taken a little element from it. But here is the full song, and a bloody good version, really. So nice one, guys. Okay, it's classic time again now. and it's from the movie of 1996, certainly the movie soundtrack, an incredible soundtrack, one of the best movie soundtracks of all time, with things like Blur, Elastica, Left Field, New Order, Primal Scream, Iggy Pop, Pulp, Lou Reed, obviously, Perfect Day, Sleeper, remember them? And this one, not the best Underworld song, but certainly the most famous probably, 16 million views, and apparently the story behind this was that he was getting a train back to Romford or somewhere, and he was just kind of making a note of all the little snippets of conversation that he heard, and stuck them all down. It takes a long time to really get going, and when it does, it goes fairly hard techno. It's a pretty original sound. It's probably mainly known for the lager bit, but there's a lot more to it than that. I guess it's where dance kind of meets indie or art, if not indie. So good stuff. And this is followed by There's Nothing I Won't Do. That was a quite good song by JX. All their stuff had been okay. It's another one in the JX formula. Not quite Eurodance, a bit harder. Good vocal hook, good arpeggios and stuff. That's followed by Gina G, who are just a little bit. Eurovision time again. It seems like this time with the Eurovision, we were really trying to push the boat out a bit. Again, I'm not really going to be spending a lot of time talking about Eurovision songs on here, but I think it's worthy of a bit of praise anyway. I met the guy who produced it, actually, Steve Rodway. He had a studio in Sevenoaks, and I did some songs there. Gina G, just a little bit. And how well did it actually do? Let me see. It might have even won it. It received 12 points from 2 countries, blah, blah, blah. So that's that. Blurred, Piano Man. I guess it had to happen. Someone put Blur, Girls and Boys into the house thing. It's okay, actually. It's quite a good Culture Clash song. So we give it props for that. Another good one now. Live Enjoy, Don't Stop Moving. Post-Euro, if that makes sense. I've talked about it before. It's not the old style Euro, it's more organ housey. And it's another really good song. As I said before, these kind of bands, they could certainly normally stretch to good 2, maybe 3 notable hits. Any more than that, and they kind of ease back a bit. Okay, that's followed by Naked, Louise. No need to say anything about that. I'll just say Imagine Louise naked and leave it at that. Return of the Mac. That's Steve Jobs' favourite song, isn't it? No, it's Mac with a K. So is it about dirty raincoats? It's Mark Morrison, Return of the Mac. It's actually a good song. It's UK R&B, made number 1, and pretty classic song still. I'm sure it's still got the stats. Return of the Mac, Mark Morrison. I don't know if he had any other hits. He might have had a few smaller ones. I think he got into trouble for waving a knife around or something dumb like that. What a bloody moron. But hey, he said 95 million views. And I would play it, but I'm playing one immediately after it. Return of the Mac, that's pretty much a classic UK R&B song. But we've got a worldwide classic now. And this is one of the best hip-hop songs ever to make a now. It's full West Coast hip-hop. And it's had 300 million views. Tupac featuring Dr. Dre. I think this is before Tupac died. If he died. Whole conspiracy theory there. Lots of people think he did, but the circumstances of his death have a bit of controversy over them. There is a good website that alleges he didn't die, which should certainly explain how many tracks all about being up here in heaven came out after his supposed death. What do you think, guys? Very interesting conspiracy theory, anyway. Musically, this is great. I think this is Dr. Dre's first appearance on the Now. It's just a real party song. Everybody to the wild, wild west. You have to kind of rap along with that, don't you? And it's very much the sound of West Coast hip-hop. Nice. It's what we need right now. So we're doing all right, actually. We had a pretty weak start, but since then it's been pretty good. Okay, Pato Banton next with Groovin'. I love the original. Young Rascals, Groovin' on a Sunday afternoon. It's just the most magical song of all time. Because Pato's doing it on his own, it's not too bad. It's very much what you'd expect of a Pato Banton version of an old 60s song. And I thought we were kind of past all this stuff now, but there's still a few stragglers. Luckily, I'll give that one a pass because I love the original song so much. And he's kept enough of it to make it worthy. Okay, Real to Real are back with Jazz It Up. Slightly different from their normal thing. But they were never really one of the world's greatest dance bands. They're okay. But, you know, when you've got things like Underworlds, you're not really going to listen to Real to Real. Okay, one that should have really followed Groovin' because it's very similar by Pato Banton. That Girl, Maxi Priest and Shaggy. Interesting that Shaggy's only a featured artist on this one. So we've got a similar dynamic when Maxi Priest teamed up with Shabba Ranks on House School. And it uses the old Green Onions, Booker T music. It's a bit more, you know, it's just a bit dated again. I'm getting sick of these dancehall 60s things now. Groovin', just about acceptable. That Girl, just stick to Green Onions. You don't really need people kind of ruining it. You really don't. Okay, a weird one now, which is Macarena. Now, in and of itself, it's a wedding disco classic, almost up there with YMCA. But that's the version by Los Del Rio, which is a kind of anglicised version, and I'm not playing it. No, I won't. But the one on the now isn't actually Los Del Rio, it's Los Del Mar, which is a pure Spanish version. I'll probably give it the edge, actually. It's ever so slightly less gimmicky and more genuinely kind of Hispanic. And you could easily get away with playing it. But it was the Los Del Rio one that made the charts. What can you say about Macarena? It's just an action song, isn't it? And action songs always go well down weddings. It's one you'd follow with something like Oops Upside Your Head, YMCA, Blame It on the Boogie. And it's certainly in that paradigm. And it's better than Wigfield, Saturday Night. So not too bad for a novelty song. Umboza, Sunshine, a kind of Brazilian, Latino style housey dance song. Totally forgotten now. No one ever listens to that. Now, one that has just only been on an hour, about 2 hours ago, so I don't quite know why it was back. Higher State of Consciousness, Josh Wink. Possibly yet another remix. There were loads and loads remixes of it. I loved it then. It's only a year later. I've not gone off it. As I said last time, you really need the acid funk, I think it is, the acid funk tweaking mix to get the best from that song. But it's okay in all its mixes, really. I've not heard a bad mix of it. Right, we've got Todd Terry again now. He has been having hits with Everything But the Girl, dancing them up a bit. Now here's a song that I think it was another version of it, Keep On Jumping. It was by Lisa, I was going to say Lisa Marie Presley, Lisa Marie Experience or something. But this is a really nice version. I think it was an old 70s song, Liquid Gold or someone. Here's Todd Terry featuring Martha Wash and Jocelyn Brown, both of whom have been kind of around for a fair old while. If I'm not mistaken, Martha Wash might have been one of the Weather Girls. She's certainly got that kind of diva sound to her. No, not Martha Washington. Martha Wash. It will all come out in the wash. But yeah, I like this. It's kind of fairly happy house. Yeah, she was. She was in Weather Girls. So there you go. Bit of pop trivia for you. Yeah, it's a fairly straight house cover of a disco classic. Got a nice tune. Good beats, great vocals, perfectly good club song, really. Fairly uplifting. Okay, another one that was a really, really big classic now. I guess I should stick it on because it is so timeless. Another one that I wasn't personally that big a fan of, to be honest, but I really get the story behind it. Basically, it was Robert Miles and Children, and hell, it's had 172 million views. 172 million views. If I'm not mistaken, the story behind this was, and it may be, something that might be relevant today, the Italian rave scene, and I guess Italian's very mountainous, and some really bad roads, and apparently there were so many people dying in car crashes and stuff after raves. It was just a real problem, a real social problem in Italy, and children. It was apparently dedicated to everyone who lost their life in an accident coming home from a rave. So yeah, I think with coronavirus and with what's going on in Italy, ironically, it's not really the children who are dying. Well, that's not ironic at all. Strangely, it's not children who've been dying, but it's children who are going to inherit the legacy of the post-corona world. Sorry to come over all morbid, but it's kind of a morbid song. And actually now, listening back, I think the reason I didn't like it is because it is morbid, and I was really into kind of euphoric trance at the time, and I was like, well, this isn't very euphoric. Now I realise it's not supposed to be. I can listen to it differently. It's actually a sad song, and yeah, it's dance, it's rave, it's trance, really. And I guess in a way it is kind of euphoric through the rain. So this is one I've really come to appreciate over the years. And, some people say dance music doesn't last, it goes out of date quickly. Maybe that's true in some cases, but in other cases, it can be the opposite. People can not like it because it's dance, and that they kind of put up resistance to it. But over repeated plays and time, maybe Corona fit into this. People actually really just start to appreciate the genuine musical quality, despite the fact that it's dance. So yeah, Robert Miles, Children. I would go on to prefer some of his later stuff, which he'll come on to shortly. But this is undoubtedly a classic. And I think now, in this climate, yeah, it's kind of having a second life. Certainly in this parish. Right, from Children to a child. Jesus to a child. George Michael. Not one of his most famous songs, a big ballad. Yeah, I can't really think of anything to say about it, really. I think it did really well. I think it was quite a comeback for George Michael at this point in his career. But it's a bit meh, and in so many classic songs doing around, I don't have really resources to spend a lot of time on it. Okay, classic songs. I'm almost tempted not to play it, because I've pretty much played everything they've done. And this is quite a nice one to talk over, being instrumental. I don't need to play Wonderwall by Oasis. You all know it. You can all find it dead easily. I will say it's yet another all-time classic. Stats-wise, we're talking 356 million, a third of a billion. Not my favourite Oasis song. I find it a bit of a trawl, really. I prefer the Mike Flowers Pops version. But undoubtedly a classic. Undoubtedly a kind of sing-along song. It really is an anthem. And it's probably, really the last real classic Oasis song. So that's Wonderwall. Slight Return next by the Blue Tones. More post Britpop, indie, almost going back to things like the House Martins and stuff. Really could have been a hit in 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, noughties. Pretty timeless song, really. It's maybe not that well known outside kind of indie world, but it's still respected and it's still worth a listen. Followed up by Paul Weller and Peacock Suit. Yet again, he's back and he's doing the normal Paul Weller thing. Really good, high quality, but maybe not earth-shatteringly exciting. Just really good songs in that kind of late 60s, early 70s retro rock sound. Peacock Suit. We follow that one with Bon Jovi. They're back. Have they? Yeah, they were last on a Now, I think, with Living on a Prayer, yonks ago, now 9. It's pretty good. It's a fairly bog standard Bon Jovi song with kind of quasi-spiritual lyrics. It's not quite as anthemic as some of their stuff, and it's not an out-and-out ballad, so it kind of falls a bit between two stools, but it's okay. Bryan Adams, has he made a Now yet? I think he was last on Now really years ago, Now 5 with Tina Turner. The only thing that looks good on me is You. Very, very typical Bryan Adams. One of my friends who might well be watching this video is the biggest Bryan Adams fan of all time. And if you're watching this and you want to leave a comment, you know who I'm talking to. Let us know what you think. For everyone else, it's just another kind of Bryan Adams song. Okay, Belinda Carlisle's back again. Still, this is now 8 years after Heaven is a Place on Earth. And it's not one of her most memorable songs, In Too Deep. We've had a couple of songs called In Too Deep on Now. So we've had Dead or Alive on Now 5, Genesis on Now 8. Belinda's is another one a bit like the Bon Jovi one. It's neither an out-and-out rocker nor an out-and-out ballad. It's somewhere in the middle. Okay, weird cover version time now. And this song's probably most memorable for being on Top of the Pops and being introduced by Chris Eubank. And now, at number 5, it's Fugf with Ophelia. And I know I've got a bit of kind of speech impediment myself. It's weird listening to my own voice. I do like screw up some syllables and stuff. Oh well, that's just the way I talk. Probably used to it now. If you're not used to it after 34 nows, you never will be. Right, what can I say about this then? It's a Simon and Garfunkel song. I love Simon and Garfunkel. This song was always a bit out of character for them. It was always a bit more kind of happy clappy, quite upbeat song. Suggs has put horses on it. Horses kind of going nay and stuff. So more wacky sounds. It's more in that kind of scarred, almost soca. What I love about Suggs and really Madness is they've always been hugely open and obvious about their inspiration from Jamaican music. They've never ever been wannabes. They've never tried to pretend they're Jamaican or anything. They're totally English, totally London, and it's just, I guess that's why it's not cultural appropriation, if anything. It's not passing itself off as anything it's not. It's a tribute. Doing Simon and Garfunkel in this style. Yeah, I mean, I don't know really. It's maybe not really stood the test of time as a cover, because only 170,000 people have listened to it. And I think, you know, Suggs' solo stuff's nowhere near as kind of lasting as the Madness stuff. Oh, I forgot about this bit. It's definitely an oddity. It's definitely, for a cover, if you're going to do a cover, do it like this, really. So yeah, I like it. Charmless Man by Blur. Another great Blur song. More up-tempo, more Kink style in its sort of observation. I do find Blur stuff can maybe be a bit kind of... I won't say holier than now, but a bit kind of judgmental. It's like with Country House, and this one in particular, Charmless Man. They paint portraits of people, and they're not very sympathetic. It's like they quite like doing character assassinations of people. If I was ever interviewing Damon Albarn or Blur, that's probably the one question I'd like them. Do they like the characters in their song? Do they like the guy who lives in the country house? Do they like the Charmless Man? Do they have any empathy for him? They're very good kind of character portraits, but, you know, where does Damon Albarn fit into it all? Is he just telling a story? Is he putting his own sort of spin on it? Shall we play it, and then you can decide for yourselves? But musically, melodically, and I guess lyrically, it is a really good song. Very, very strong song. And it's had 11 million views, which is not like mega brilliant, but it's certainly what you'd call like a classic. We follow this one with Trash. That's actually quite good. Suede, very, very much in the Suede playbook. Brett Anderson's vocals in his normal kind of unique style, almost kind of whining. And I mean that as a compliment because I like his voice, but it's a sort of whine, really. Trash, yeah, it's very, very much in the Suede Beautiful Ones kind of style. That's followed by One of Us by Joan Osborne. I wonder if that was her only hit. It's the only one that anyone's really heard of. It's that one that goes, what if God was one of us? So it's quite a slow, alternative, folky, kind of semi-rocky song. Pretty good song, actually. Quite philosophical. We follow that up with Instinct. Crowded House are back again. Always nice to have them back. And it's their umpteenth song on a Now. It's their umpteenth song. I can't really think of anything like pizzazzy to say about it. If you love Crowded House, you won't be disappointed. Ocean Drive, Lighthouse Family, almost Shite House Family, but they're not quite that bad, so it's more just mediocre House Family. Ocean Drive, I don't know, just bland, really. It's like a kind of Sunday drive, I suppose. Just slow, dawdles along. On Silent Wings by Tina Turner, not one of her most memorable. There's been so many other Tina Turner songs that this one just kind of falls into the cracks a bit. It's not had that many views. It's not bad, but it's nowhere near one of the classics. Followed up by Wrong and Everything But the Girl. I think it was Todd Terry again. It certainly sounds like it. Very much a follow-up from Missing. But because it's Everything But the Girl, it's got a great vocal, great melody and great lyrics. Her songs are always kind of about love, but they're always coming at it from a very knowing point of view. She's clearly lived and loved a lot, and she really does know how to write about feelings. And I guess it's a bloke. I've not really said this, but it's actually it's not lost on me that almost all music's done by men. And, it really isn't 50-50, and it really should be. Because people like Tracy Thorn, I think they do a really good service, certainly for people like me, in writing about women's feelings about stuff. And this is why it's really good to have female singer-songwriters who can really articulate kind of female perspectives. And I think you can learn a lot from listening to the lyrics for people like Tracy Thorn. It really does give you some instinct into, I don't say how every woman's mind works, but certainly how one woman's mind works. It's just a shame that she looks a bit like Rodney from Only Fools and Horses. No, I mean that as a compliment. Anyway, we follow that one with a one I'm going to play. I didn't really like it, but it was certainly unique, and it was very, very much the sound of summer '96. Who remembers this? OMC, how bizarre. Another one that you'd file under one hit wonder. It doesn't matter if they've had a few smaller follow-ups. What matters with a one hit wonder is that people can only remember one of their songs. Not OMD, OMC. Is it rap? It's more just kind of speaking. Was it from like the Philippines or somewhere? The music, I don't know how you describe it. It's very lo-fi, really. It does sound like it was done at home, but it has got things like trumpets and stuff on it. So it can't be that low-key. It's not just MIDI. Yeah, it's certainly a one-off. And in a way, it kind of sounds a bit better now than it did at the time. I think it was overplayed on the radio. It's not really one I'd choose to pull out, but it's actually quite pleasant. And it's definitely original. So yeah, give this one a free pass. Now, a song that I really do like now is OMD, and that's very clever. They've gone from OMC to OMD. Sure, that was deliberate, and it's quite a good juxtaposition. This, I believe, was their last ever appearance on a Now, and it's Walking on the Milky Way. And it's a really, really good swan song, actually. It's really nice when the band knows that their time is up, and they end on a high, and they end with a song that almost describes their kind of life's journey as a band. I think Walking on the Milky Way is possibly one of the very best OMD songs, and I think it pretty much is like an epilogue. It's like their version of My Way. He's just sort of talking about their past and when they were younger, how great it was, and they thought they could do everything. And as they got older, realised fame wasn't everything. And it's a really touching song with a really good vocal, very stirring. It's not very synthy, which you'd expect from OMD. It's more of a just straight, almost pop rock song. But basically, great song and great lyrics. I think he'd go on to do other stuff. I think he might have gone on to do something with Atomic Kitten. Maybe the less said the better, if he was introducible for introducing Kerry Cantona onto the world. But in terms of OMD, it's a very nice kind of, what's the word I'm thinking of? A send-off, an obituary almost. So yeah, Walking on the Milky Way, and that's walking with an L. Okay, another one I'm going to play now, an all-time classic, and a really, really a contender for one of the best songs of the 90s. Now, I've been talking about the females of the species before, and this song kind of gets my kind of love it, hate it. No, not hate it. Absolutely love it. let's say, understanding versus misunderstanding of the female of the species. We all do. And I'm sure the females are the same with males, because there's been many female songs about boys. The female of the species by Space. Here they are. It's post-Britpop, but it's way inventive. It's kind of guitar pop, but it's more kind of like lounge. It's another one that's kind of kitschy and ironic, but with a harder, knowing edge to it. So in that sense, it's quite postmodern. Space were a very, very good singles band. All their singles were different. They seem to put a lot of care into their productions. Great lyrics. This is a really, really good song. Okay, there's just a couple more and I'll do the roundup. Let's see, we've got Walk Away by Cast. That's another good song. That's probably one of their best. That's a more of a ballady, slow one. And that follows this very well. I think they're both Scouse bands. And then Boyzone, Coming Home Now. Yeah, Boyzone. As always, perfectly good, well crafted, well put together. But I'm not a 14-year-old girl. So let's go through this one then. Spice Girls Wannabe. That's my one concession, maybe two, of which more later, but only a few concessions to Spice World. I will give Wannabe it because it's first and it was a big song. Then some awful songs. Then Dodgy, Good Enough. Yeah, that's pretty classic. Day We Caught the Train. Absolutely. Theme from Mission Impossible. I think it's a really good version of a classic theme. Born Slippy, Underworld. Absolutely. And Trainspotting. Great soundtrack. Just a little bit. I think will go down as one of our best Eurovision songs. Again, I'm not really the audience, but respect for quality and for stuff that does what it's supposed to do. Living Joy, Dreamer. No, not Dreamer. That was last time. Don't Stop Moving. Bit of a Freudian slip. But it's almost Dreamer. It's probably just as famous, to be honest. Don't Stop Moving. Return of the Mac, Mark Morrison. Yep, really good UK R&B. California Love. Probably, in global terms, the biggest classic yet. One of the biggest hip-hop songs to ever make a now. Then a couple of adequate reggae covers. Macarena, but not this version. Los Del Rio is what you want, not Los Del Mar. Although if you actually want the Spanish version, stick with Los Del Mar. Higher State of Consciousness, but we'd already had it just a couple of nows ago. Keep On Jumping is quite a club classic. Children by Robert Miles, absolutely. And I say that as someone who didn't even really like it at the beginning, and it's just grown on me. Wonderwall, ditto. It's not one of my favourite Oasis songs, but denying Wonderwall's a classic. It's like denying we're in lockdown. You'd just be a moron. It is a classic. It's hugely classic. Some good indie post-Britpop stuff, but not really classic. Some OK AOR, Blur, Charmless Man, more or less. And there's just a couple to end it with there. OMD, Walking on the Milky Way, Female of the Species, Space, and Castaway. Walk Away. Alright everyone, now 34. All in all, pretty good. Some duff stuff, but a hell of a lot of classics. So I think you'll enjoy it. You take care. Bye.